Monday, December 20th, 2021. Due to technical difficulties, we will not be live streaming tonight. We have in attendance with us the following city officials.
Mayor Kathy Canzero Perry.
Good evening.
Safety Service Director Barb Sylvester. Auditor Jane Ferrero. Chief Deputy Auditor Stephanie Myers.
Present.
Law Director Justin Richard.
Present.
Chief Counsel Bill Bartos.
Present.
Chief Engineer David Kropp. And/or Jason Popiel. And/or Greg McHugh. Community Development Director Samantha Walters.
Present.
Economic Development Director David Maley.
Present.
Income Tax Budget Director Lori Katakides-Boron.
Present.
Is there anyone present from administration that I might have missed? That's it, Madam President.
Thank you and welcome to everyone. Under number 5 on the agenda is where the public can speak on any item that does appear on tonight's agenda. And then again, under number 17 is where the public can speak on any item that did not appear on tonight's agenda. I'd like to ask council when you're not speaking to please mute your microphone. And that's it. Roll call.
Creamer.
Present.
Gregg.
Here.
Hernkane.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Bittman.
Here.
Lombardi.
Here.
Sloots.
Here.
Sterrett.
Here.
And Tharrett.
Present.
Roll call of 9 present, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All present and accounted for. Councilman Sterrett.
Thank you, Madam President. If everyone could stand and please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Sterrett. Madam Clerk, are the minutes of the previous meeting transcribed and open for public viewing?
Yes, they are.
Are there any corrections or additions to be made?
No, there are not.
And the minutes stand approved as written. Order number 5 on the agenda, where anyone from the audience can come forward and talk about any topic that is on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, please come forward, state your name, address, and topic you wish to discuss. And please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move into new and miscellaneous business. Councilman Lewis.
Yes. I would like to make a motion that in accordance with the Division B4, Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code, that we enter into executive session to include all the members of council, the president of council, the clerk of council, the mayor, the budget director, law director, and our chief counsel and his representative, for the purpose of reviewing negotiations and bargaining sessions with public employees of the city of Massillon concerning the compensation and other terms and conditions of their
Second by Councilman Creamer. Roll call.
Excuse me, Councilman Lewis, you didn't include the budget director.
I believe I said the budget director, but I did not include her.
Okay. Thank you. Gregg.
Yes.
Hernkane.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Littman.
Yes.
Lombardi.
Yes.
Sloots.
Yes.
Sterrett.
Yes.
Tharrett.
Yes.
And Creamer.
Yes.
9 yes to enter into executive session.
Thank you. We will enter into executive session at this time.
Thank you.
roll call. Hurricane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sloops,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Gray.
Yes.
9 yes to exit executive session and enter back into our regular session.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are now presently back into our regular session. Introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 178, 2021.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Massillon, Ohio, to enter into an agreement with Stark County Regional Planning Commission, SCRPC, for the Madison Housing Department ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Starrett.
Thank you, Madam President. This is an annual contract between the city and the Stark County Regional Planning Commission, so we can utilize the services of the Planning Commission. We would ask that this be passed tonight at this meeting, if there's no questions or concerns, so we can continue utilizing these services with no breaks. Are there any questions or concerns at this meeting? There are no changes between this contract and last year's contract. Seeing no further discussion, I would ask that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 178-2021 forward for vote.
Seconded by Councilman Sloops. Roll call.
Board suspension.
For suspension? Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sloops,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Hernkane.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sloops,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 178, 2021 is passed. Ordinance number 179, 2021.
An ordinance to approve the 2021 replacement pages to the codified ordinances of the city of Madison, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Gray.
Thank you, Madam President. This is something we need to do each year just to pass the, or have the updated codified ordinances that have been passed throughout the year included for the city. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 179, 2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Hernkane. Roll call for suspension.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sloops,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Sloops,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
and Lombardi.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 179, 2021 is passed. Ordinance number 180, 2021.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and the director of public services safety of the city of Massillon, Ohio, to accept and enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Massillon FOP Henderson Lodge Police Officers Association Gold Unit, effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Gray.
Thank you, Madam President. This is legislation that we need to pass this evening, possibly to approve the contract with Gold Unit, as we discussed in the executive session. Any questions, concerns, discussion? Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 180, 2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilwoman Starrett. Roll call for suspension.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
and Sloops.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 suspension.
And for passage.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
and Sterrett.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 180, 2021 is passed. Ordinance number 181, 2021.
An ordinance reducing the appropriations in the 1209 Police Pension Fund, the 1210 Fire Pension Fund, the 1340 Tax Increment Fund, the 1409 Municipal Road Fund, the 3109 TIF Service Fund, and the 3110 Massillon Museum Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, are there any questions or discussion this evening? Seeing none, I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 181-2021 forward for.
Second by Councilman Sterrett. Roll call for suspension.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
and Barrett.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 suspension.
And for passage.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
and Creamer.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 181, 2021 has passed. Ordinance number 182, 2021.
An ordinance authorizing the auditor to pay various 2021 bills that have been received and that will be received by her office between January 1st, 2022 and March 31st, 2022 out of the 2022 appropriations within the various departments of the city of Madison, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this is something else that we do at the end of every year. Are there any questions or discussion this evening? Seeing none, I make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 182-2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Gray. Roll call for suspension.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
and Gray.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 suspension.
And for passage.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Hernkane.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 182, 2021 is passed. Resolution number 8, 2021.
A resolution requesting the Stark County Auditor and the Stark County Treasurer to make an advance payment to the city of Massillon, Ohio of real estate taxes collected by Stark County on behalf of the city during the 2022 fiscal year.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this is more end of the year cleanup, allowing us to gain anticipated revenue earlier in the year. Are there any questions? Seeing none, make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing resolution number 8-2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Sterrett. Roll call for suspension.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 suspension.
And for passage.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hernkane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution number 8, 2021 has passed. Madam Clerk, is there any unfinished business?
No, there is not.
Are there any petitions and general communications?
Yes, we have a request for a new liquor license for the Village Tavern LLC, first floor, front, located at 146 First Street Northeast, Massillon, Ohio, 44646. Permit class is a D3 and is located in Ward 2.
Thank you. Councilman Barrett, did you get a copy of this?
Yes, I did send an email.
Thank you. Are there any bills and accounts and claims?
Yes, we have a bill in the amount of $5,037.30 for the 2021 codified ordinances and the updating of our website. We have a bill in the amount of $182.56 for the publication of our October ordinances. And we have a bill in the amount of $52.50 payable to Marino Media Limited for our sound system adjustment, which is a total of $5,272.36.
Councilman Lewis,
Make a motion to pay the bills?
second by Councilman Gray, roll call.
Sluse,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Hurricane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
and McCarty.
Yes.
9 yes to pay the bills.
Thank you. Clerk will pay the bills and charge them to their proper accounts. Reports of city officials.
Yes, we have the mayor's report for November 2021 and the treasurer's report for 2021.
Thank you. Reports of committees, our next work session will be next Monday, the 27th. Councilman Lewis, would you like to remind us of anything?
Yes, thank you. There will be most likely be a truncated work session. After that, at 7 p.m., we will have our swearing in for our people that are going to be joining us on the next council, as well as Ms. Lippman, if she chooses to join us, and Mr. Richard, if he chooses to join us as well. In regards to that, I'd also like to say after this meeting, the people that will be in attendance next week, if you guys might be out for 5 minutes so we can work out some organizational details about that night. That'd be great.
Councilman Lewis,
Yes.
there will be a special meeting that night also
Yes.
for ordinance 183
183.
on that reduction.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we're at a special meeting at 6:30, but then after that, till 7 o'clock, we have our swearing.
So that will give you enough time to get.
Oh, so obviously if the meeting goes long, the swearing in gets postponed.
So anybody that you'd like to be here with you during the swearing in, make sure you come. All right, resolutions and requests from council members. Seeing none. Call the calendar, we have one, ordinance number 158, 2021.
Ordinance number 158, 2021 was tabled December the 6th, 2021 until December 12th, 2021. And it is an ordinance to adopt the appropriations for the operating and capital expenditures of the city of Madison, Ohio for the fiscal year 2022 and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to call forward the budget director for any final comments you may have or general questions of council.
Thank you. If you could come up to this one too. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just wanted to give you an opportunity for any general last comments that you might want to share with council.
Okay, no, I, like I said, when we presented this was a lot of work that came from not only myself, but the auditor's office. Stephanie and I kind of had a hotline to each other, so it is a collaborative work. It's based on what numbers were certified with D-Star County as a whole. We had talked earlier, I mean, there's legislation on here as well. The 3% increases are all written into this, and you have some questions that I believe the chiefs and Tom Burgasser were able to answer for you earlier. So it's just this great collaboration between the auditors and myself.
Councilman Whitman.
Thank you, Madam President. I think that you responded to us by email as far as what the overall increase in the budget budget is year over year, but I don't know that it's been put to record, so.
It's, yes, that was for the 1100, the general fund that we
Yes.
talked about. It was approximately 8.25%.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions or comments? Councilman Barrett?
Just a maybe a dumb question. So far, so the budget now has been certified by Stark County. So the money that we need projected right now should be there.
The money that we receive from Stark County, we have to turn in the overall budget too, to Stark County so we can justify that we need that money is once we do approve it, that, and we have legislation to get some of those funds earlier, we do receive those funds from the county.
Awesome, thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Lewis?
All right, thank you. I would like to call up the law director.
Okay, Mr. Richards, if you would. Mr. Richard?
Thank you, Mr. Richard. We do obviously going to have to make an amendment today in relation to the salary because there was a little bit of an error in that, and we've discovered that. But there were some questions, and I know you clarified one, but if you could again, about the increase in the law director's staff salary by approximately $29,000. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Historically, we've had an intern program, and it's beneficial for both students, law students, and undergraduates. Unfortunately, because of our increased workload, we would see we had more cases. Even though we try to get them court and trial time as well, they were also helping with those clerical duties. And it got to the point where we were really relying too much on interns to do those clerical type things. And the downside, of course, is as soon as we could get them internally trained, they were gone. So then we had to spend time retraining the next person, and ultimately we do have the work there. A lot of it is from the work that we contracted recently to having new departments having to prosecute their cases. So some of that cost should be offset by the fact that we are in fact bringing in money, but the work is there. So we're looking to hire a full-time office assistant at 30 hours a week.
So you'd be replacing the intern with an office assistant, not another lawyer?
Correct, and it's intern and interns. At times we would have several, but we're just out of the business of interns, and essentially the workspace that was provided for interns will now be another office assistant.
Is there any reason you'd be attempting to use interns in the 2022 year at all?
Not at this time. I really hope that this works out and fills the void. And through the past years, we've had less and less people willing to travel from the University of Akron to Massillon. So I think maybe just for at least the foreseeable future, I would like to have a full-time employee as opposed to an intern.
And is this already a position that you have in the organizational chart?
I'm looking at the budget director. We have spoken of it, and she's giving me a nod, so I say yes.
Okay, so you're saying that we will not have to add the role. It's already there, it's just unfilled at this time.
Mr. Richard, did you just say full-time employee?
Yes,
I thought you said 30 hours a week.
it is.
It is 30 hours. It's 30 hours a week, but I think what Mr. Richard is referring to is when it's 30 hours a week, it does become benefit eligible as well. So, but it is a 30-hour a week. And why I nodded my head is we have a young lady who's actually in this position already, so this position is the same as hers, just a little bit more hours, so I believe it's in the miscellaneous schedule.
Any other questions?
That doesn't necessarily clarify So this position that we're discussing is going to be a person you already have hired, you're going to add another person.
Yes.
So the position and the job title might exist, but are the slots available? Like usually in our hierarchy it says 2 clerks or 3 of whatever. Do you have that many slots? The only reason I ask is because typically council does not make it a habit to fund a position before the position is created. Does that make sense? So this isn't an objection necessarily to whether or not the position is needed. I just want to make sure we do things the right order.
I can appreciate that. Everyone's here.
What I'm looking at does not say legal clerk, there's 2. It just says legal clerk. So it would be an addition of a legal clerk to the law department at a part-time status.
And we would not have to add that to our organizational chart.
No, I'm looking at it, no, we wouldn't, because it's already a position that's been created.
That's all I wanted to know. If we haven't added it or not added it. I'll let somebody else ask the question.
Did you just say part-time? I thought you just said
If 30 hours is part-time, when you are 30 hours, you are eligible for benefits. So technically it is part-time, but like I said, because I believe that Mr. Richard has referred to it as full-time because of the benefit eligibility.
My mistake.
So it is part-time.
Yes, it's 30 hours.
Councilman Little.
Thank you, Madam President. I think in other departments, they refer to it as a permanent part-time.
Yes,
When they become eligible for benefits.
yes, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Logan, that's exactly what it's called.
Councilman Starrett.
So how many support staff are currently in the law department?
2 full-time and 1 part-time.
So this will bring you to 2 full-time, 2 part-time, or 1 permanent part-time, 1 part-time, and 2 full-time.
Yes.
Councilman Gray.
Did we pay our interns?
Yes.
So that's going to be somewhat offset. I mean, that will somewhat offset what we're paying in the new position.
That was my thought.
Anyone else? Councilman Lewis.
Still a party of roses.
Over there. I'm sorry.
Christmas season.
Okay. Marty.
Thank you, President Mason. I'm having a problem justifying this now. I think just 2.5 years ago, we had a part-time law director. Now we have a full-time law director, a full-time attorney, and now you're asking yet for another position. I just don't see the justification for it. I mean, the same contract work was there prior to you taking your position, and we haven't had an increase in that work.
Yes, we have.
How so?
By shared cases, by shared numbers. When that was presented to council, you had 2018 and 2019 numbers to look at. When I spoke about this, we had 2020 and 2021 to look at. We've increased by 10%. Not only has the work numbers, just the overall criminal cases increased, we've also increased the number of jurisdictions that we prosecute because I went out and got them. So I prosecute more cases than previously, and so thus there's more work. And if you think about it, if an assistant, you needed a part-time assistant if you had a part-time law director. But if you have a law director here all the time, they need more assisting.
I guess, how many jurisdictions have you brought in? Are you talking increasing over since you've been law director?
Well, since chief prosecutor, 5. Approximately $50,000 or so annually.
Councilman Starrett.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm sad to the interim program code, because that's when I started. started my law career, but that is not here or there. Two, though, to play devil's advocate off of Mr. Lombardi, I do believe, and those that have been on council for a while could probably back me up on this or not, that when we did acquire those jurisdictions, we talked and asked if the staffing was adequate at that time, and I believe we were told it was, and we wouldn't have this concern. So that is something that I think council members should be thinking about, remembering, because I do remember this was a concern. And Mr. Lewis, you tend to be the one that always brings it up. Will this require us to be considering additional staffing in the future? And we were told no at that point, I believe.
Technically, it's not additional staff, it's just replacing what was already there, whether it's an intern or an office assistant.
Councilman Lewis?
At this time, I don't know if we're able to really debate the merits of the position. And Mr. Richard, I think, made a compelling argument that as your workload increases, the districts, and all the other amplifications that we see in the system, you very well could justify this need. And I appreciate that you're trying to look at how to best manage your department that you are elected to run. However, I'm not confident, and I know that we put County 84 on the short list there, trying to figure it out as she went. I'm not confident that it would not take council action to make sure that we have that position. So I'm slightly inclined to do a reduction here for that position. So then, just in January, we can make sure it's cleaned up. We just throw the money back into the general fund, it'll be part of the carryover. And then in January, once we get it all cleaned up, we just put it back in. And that way, we're not saying no to the position, we're just wanting to making sure it's clean. It doesn't hurt anybody, it fully funds the law department, has it currently operating. It just makes it that this extension just needs a little bit more looking into.
Councilman Littman?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Richard, can you indicate to us the cost of the interns versus the cost of the permanent part-time assistant being one? So, I'm thinking that it's quite comparable. If you have several interns and you're looking at a permanent part-time assistant, there's not going to be, from a budgetary standpoint, an increase in funds needed. It's more whether we are micromanaging your department, indicating we think you should keep interns versus a permanent part-time office assistant. So I guess I look at it as with the increased revenue that your office has brought in from the additional contracts, even if there is a slight difference or some difference in the revenue or the funds that are needed to pay your permanent part-time assistant of 30 hours versus an internship, it certainly is made up by the additional contract revenue that your office has brought in. I'll also comment on Ms. Sterrett's indication of when we were looking at, since I am a third term council person as well, I do recall those conversations when we were looking at the position of law director going from part-time to full-time. There was a significant amount of law work that was having to be contracted out by another firm. So part of our reasoning, I believe at that time, and agreement at that time, is that rather than always having to pay for work that we did not have the capacity to do inside, we were now able to do inside our own law office. So that's part of the conversation I recall from there. But I wouldn't have a problem with approving this addition or this change in your staffing simply because I think it's a moot point.
Councilman Hurricane?
Thank you, Madam President. I would agree with Mrs. Whitman. I think if we're going to look at changing this again in a month, we might as well go ahead and do it now. I think replacing a person with the intern program is comparable, obviously, with the number of executive sessions we've had over the last couple of years. I think it's very easy to see that there is an increased workload, not just in the number of citations throughout Western Stark County, traffic and criminal, but also the increased civil work that's we've seen here at the city level over the last couple of years. So I agree with Mrs. Whitman. I don't have any problem going forward with this now. If we're going to be doing it in a couple of weeks anyway, we might as well just do it now and go on to the next thing.
Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. I totally agree, and Mr. Richards pointed out another key element in this. Instead of having to retrain that consistent turnover, you have one person that knows the office, knows what's going on, knows what to do, when to do it, how to do it, instead of having to take more time away from the lawyers and the other staff to retrain the intern every time there's a turnover. To me, this makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Councilman Lewis?
Just to be clear, and I'm not necessarily debating whether or not the move would make sense. By my quick calculations, and I could be off a little bit, the question was the difference between the clerk and the intern. It looks like it's going to be approximately, it could be in the ballpark of $20,000 to $25,000 a year is all we're talking about as far as the increase in the overall cost. I think to Mr. Lombardi's point, though, is when not that long ago, when we moved the part-time law director from $55,000 a year to $85,000 a year, $30,000 jump. The idea was by having a full-time law director, they would be able to handle the increased workload from the additional jurisdictions that were being acquired. And it was also argued that with the increased workload of the criminal cases, that is why we needed to bring on a full-time law director. Now we have our full-time law director. I'm satisfied with the services that are rendered, and thank you for that very much. But here we have another $25,000. So what started off as a $30,000 increase is now becoming a $55,000 increase, and it grows exponentially every year with raises that people are getting at 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever they are. So that is why I wanted to have this discussion. Also, usually if there is an addition of a position, we usually debate the merits of the position, and then we add the financial to it. And I still have a question as to whether or not we're going to have to add that position to the organizational chart. And let's just say perhaps next, council argues that that position is not warranted and does not support the law director in that decision. Then all of a sudden we have funded the position in excess, the department in excess of what it is needed. That is the only reason I suggested that maybe we just stave it off for a little bit and go from there. But ultimately, it's the will of the council. If the council is satisfied with the way this is written, we move forward. If they want to see it pulled back, then we'll pull it back.
Councilman Lewis?
I don't think we are thinking about how business offices work. When you hire an officer per se, and their load increases, or their, in this case, caseload increases, do we expect that officer, or in this case our law director or the lawyers, to do the clerical work that is associated with the increased cases or the increased work that we would allocate to our lawyers and our law director and our chief counsel? It just, it's logical to me in any kind of business setting. That's exactly what you're going to see, is as you increase the load that is needed to be accomplished, the work that's needed to be accomplished, you have additional clerical work that obviously that officer is not going to be doing. And I guess I'm saying officer because that's my business background, and that's what I'm used to seeing. So what you are doing, in my opinion, is just like every other office would need to do in the situation that you're describing.
Councilman Garrett?
It's, as a suggestion, the main concern is this position already in the chart? We already have a special meeting scheduled for next week. We could easily just bump this next week and get that question answered officially, probably tie that to make sure.
I can answer it. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Well, both Lori and I looked at this in October, and ultimately, it would go to the law department to determine on whether or not there is a position, and it is our opinion that there is.
Okay, I'm going to let council finish asking questions, then I'm going to go to the mayor, and then I'm going to go to Mr. Bartos. Anyone else in council with a question or concern? Councilman Brett?
I'm not concerned about the financial aspect of it. I think that Mr. Richards' the additional business he's brought in, prosecutorial business and so forth, plus this cost savings of not paying the interns, it's going to be close enough, maybe not quite to cover this new position, but be pretty close. And I think that synergy that would be gained by having a person there full-time, part-time, full-time, instead of interns would be worth that cost. But, having said that, I do share Councilman Moose's concern that we do this in the right way, and that we, if it is true that there's a position there, then I'm good with passing it tonight. I guess that's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Anyone else on council? Mayor, thank you for your patience. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. I just wanted to say, I am not here to debate the position whatsoever. What I am concerned about is that it is a permanent part-time position, and that is not created. And I think we need to add that to the schedule if we're going to allow this position. That's all I wanted to
Could you
share
say
with
that
you.
again, please?
That it is not a 40-hour full-time person. It is a permanent part-time staff member at 30 hours. There's a difference between that. If you place that person in the full-time position, he could easily go to 40 hours. Do you see what I'm saying? I think it should be, in just my opinion, a permanent part-time position at 30 hours.
Mr. Bartos, did you have something you want to say? No? Okay. Anyone else on council? Councilman Lewis, back to you.
This is a tough one. I'm not necessarily opposed to the position. I will say it is an increase. The interns do not offset it exactly. That is why there's an increase. There's an 8% increase overall. I personally need more information about the organizational chart. I appreciate Mr. Richard and his comment. Obviously, if he says it's there, it's there. I want to be certain it's there. And I hope that everybody can respect my view in the sense that, I mean no offense, but to have the office that's making the request also being the one that says, oh, it's there, that wouldn't apply for any other department. We would have someone else that would ask. So I think there maybe would be some due process there if we just did go ahead and follow Mrs. Starrett's recommendation of just putting it off into Monday, since we're having a special meeting anyways. And we just clear it up at that time to make sure we have everything squared away would be my inclination. And I guess, Council President, if you wanted to call anyone else, feel free to do so.
Go ahead.
I just want to, I understand all the debate and I understand your concern, but if you put this off till next week, that is a very big burden on the auditor's department who have to input all of this information, which may possibly delay it a little bit. Just, like I said, I respect everybody's opinion, so I just want to put that out there.
Mr. Lewis?
Well, then we'll see where it plays. I make a motion that we amend the budget for the 2022 year for the city of Massillon. The total amendment would occur within the law department's office. It would be an amendment reduction of $27,797. That would be $2,550 in the salary law director. That would be and the remainder would be split between the salary, law director, staff, hospitalized, and our dental for their staffing, for the total of $27,797.
Do you have a second? Councilman Starrett? Roll call for the amendment.
Starrett?
Yes.
Starrett?
No.
Kramer?
No.
Gray?
Yes.
Hernkane?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Yes to amend?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can you restate that again? That didn't sound.
It's a good, total amendment of $27,797. That includes the adjustment to the salary of the law director, the salary of the law director staff, and the hospital the benefits.
So you're amending the budget to include the money for Mr. Richard to hire this person?
He's taking it out.
Reducing it.
He's taking
Reducing
it
it.
out.
Then I vote no.
Lewis?
Yes.
Littman?
No.
Lombardi?
Yes.
Slutes?
No.
And Sterrick? Or did I start with Sterrick? I started with Sterrick, okay. Okay, we have 5 no and 4 yes to amend ordinance number 158 per Councilman Lewis's recommendation.
So the amendment has failed.
Correct.
Councilman Lewis.
All right, I make a motion that we amend the City of Massillon's 2022 budget by $2,550, and this is law director salary only. This is not the same thing. This is the amendment that has to be made because the law director's budgeted amount is too high per ORC.
Seconded by Councilman Gray. Roll call for this new amendment.
Barrett?
I'm confused. This isn't making any sense.
All right, so the First Amendment request included the reduction to the law director's salary and a reduction to his overall staff salary, which would have included the new position. This amendment only includes the law director's salary, because in this budget, if you look, last year, his salary was $84,999.84. This year's budget amount is $87,550. Per law, he cannot receive a raise because he is still in his elected term. He cannot receive that raise until next term, so we have to reduce the budget in order to meet with what the law says. This is a correction. This one, I do not believe the law director is even debating.
Yes.
Excuse me, but I thought that was reduced on the amended budget that Lori gave me that I sent out to everybody. The 84,999.84. What you're looking at?
That is not what I have seen. The only one I've seen has him budgeted at $87,550.
I sent out an amended Exhibit A last Friday. Well, when did you give that to me, Lori?
Well, if you send out an amended Exhibit A last Friday, I still have to make an amendment on the record because the one that was submitted for first reading didn't have that on.
Correct. But that's what we were supposed to be doing tonight, only amending Exhibit A.
That is what I'm doing right now.
But I'm looking at different numbers so that you're calling off on your amendment. You're reducing the law director's budget from what? What's on your budget? Your copy.
The budget 2021 was $84,999.84.
Okay.
The budget in 2022, which is the one that was in front of us, is for $87,550. I'm reducing by $2,555, taking it down to $85,000 even, which I guess gives them 16 cents to split.
Isn't that what you did in the amended budget, Lori? $84,999.94.
We're just off the cents. I took it down to exactly what it was last year, so we're just off the cents.
And then you did 2,500 in services and contracts.
That's what was suggested by council, so if that needs to be 80, if we need to make that the even amount, then I can always do another amended exhibit for you.
Councilman Hurricane.
This is what I emailed.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a question here. Even if the budgeted amount stays the same, with the increase. The auditor is only going to pay him what he's owed without the increase. Couldn't that be a budget transfer or something next year? I mean, what's the easiest way to do this here?
Well, the easiest way is we have a motion and a second on the floor, it would be just to call up the amendment and accept it. I mean, I have made a motion to amend. I have a second from Mr. Gray. We are at the voting stage. I understand you have this Exhibit A here, but this was not the exhibit that was provided to council at the beginning. So I have simply made an amendment and have just put the money back into the carryover. If he needs the money, he can come back and get it from us later, or whatever the case may be. Just the simplest would be to say, yes, the law director shouldn't be budgeted for an amount that he's not going to gather as pay. Pass the amendment and then move forward with the budget.
But I thought we had talked about putting that in services and contracts, just like Lori had indicated. Is that not in your motion? Okay, I'm just
If
confirming
that's
that's
where
where.
council wants to put it, yeah, they can put the
Okay, you're saying put it
25.
back in,
My amendment did not give any indication as to where the money would go, which means it would default to the 1100 general fund.
okay.
Which is just very careful.
So I think we should have it in the services and contracts. I mean, as we discussed.
That's fine, but that's not.
That's not what your motion is. That's not what your motion is.
That's not the motion.
Okay, so if we want that to be the case, then we vote no on your amendment.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that, or you guys can say, hey, can we amend it, whatever you want to do.
Councilman Starrett?
I know we have a motion on the floor, but before we do that, I think because most of us have probably looked at the Exhibit A that was sent out, if we just strike down this motion and then just amend the budget to include Exhibit A, which is what the council seems to be leaning that direction, because it does then move that 2,500 into services and contracts.
So then, I'll just say, my motion then will be to reduce the law director's salary by $2,550, placing it into his service and contracts line item. Do I still have a second?
That's your new amendment.
That's my amendment. Do I still have a second?
Councilman Gray? Any discussion? Please roll call.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes. Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Turnkey,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lippman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
and Starrett.
Yes.
9 yes to amend ordinance number 158 per Mr. Lewis's recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis's amendment has passed. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, make a motion that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 158-2021 forward for a vote. Due to the amendment, it automatically goes back to first reading.
Second by Councilman Starrett. Roll call for suspension.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Turnkey,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lippman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
and Barrett.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Gray,
Yes.
Turnkey,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lippman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
and Kramer.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you. Clerk, with the help of Councilman Starrett and the understanding, ordinance number 158-2021 has passed. Third reading ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 154-2021.
An ordinance to terminate the contract of the city engineer services between OHM Advisors and the city of Massillon, Ohio, effective upon the hiring of a full-time city engineer no later than June 1st, 2022.
Councilman Gray?
Thank you, Madam President. Given the recent event that OHM has resigned as city engineer, this piece of legislation has become moot, and therefore I'd like to make a motion that we table it indefinitely, let it die at the end of this term.
Second by Councilman Hurricane. Roll call to table ordinance number 154-2021.
Hurricane,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer, and Gray.
Yes.
9 yes to table ordinance number 154-2021 indefinitely.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 154, 2021 has been tabled indefinitely. Ordinance number 163, 2021.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 118, 2011, which subdivided the city of Madison, Ohio into wards and enacted a new ordinance subdividing the city of Madison, Ohio into wards and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Starrett.
Thank you, Madam President. As everybody should have gotten in their email as well, you should have gotten the description of the boundaries for each ward in the city. And at this point, if there is no further discussion on this, I would ask that we amend ordinance number 163-2021 to include the description of the boundaries of each of the 6 wards in the city of Massillon.
Second by Councilman Sluse. Roll call for the amendment.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Hermke.
Yes.
9 yes to amend.
Roll call for suspension.
I need to make a motion first.
I'm sorry.
Is there any further discussion on this amendment after, or on this ordinance? Seeing none, I make a motion that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 163-2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Sluse. Roll call for suspension.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hermke,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hermke,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Littman.
Yes.
9 yes for for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 163, 2021 has passed. Ordinance number 168, 2021.
An ordinance amending the occupation list class titles 715 through -730, Health Department, part-time, temporary, seasonal, and the miscellaneous schedule in the city of Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Gregg.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe we've already amended this, correct? So it's ready, we're ready to vote.
No, you didn't amend it because
Okay, so we need.
nobody had saw the amendment. Remember? And I sent it out after the meeting.
Okay.
So you need to make the motion.
All right, so I move that we amend ordinance number 168, 2021 to include the new information for the ordinance.
Second by Councilman Starrett. Roll call for the amendment.
Slutes,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Barrett.
This is for,
We're amending the attachment to include administrative assistant.
sorry, I think yes.
Okay. Barrett? Who did I
Yes.
start with? Barton, Slutes. Barrett?
I already voted, but yes.
I'm sorry.
I already voted, but yes. Starting with Slutes, I believe.
Okay. Barrett,
Yes.
Creamer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Hermke,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
and Lombardi.
Yes.
9 yes to amend ordinance number 168-2021.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 168, 2021 has been amended. Councilman Gregg.
Thank you, Madam President. So with that amendment, it takes us back to first reading. I think we've had plenty of discussion on this. So I'd like to make a motion Well, first of all, I'll ask if there's any additional discussion or questions or concerns. Mrs. Whitman?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted clarification that this is the ordinance 168 that Mr. Lewis had requested to be before the funding of that ordinance with the $180,000 workforce development grant. So that was just a clarification. Thank you.
Councilman Garrett?
Thank you, Madam President. Still having a hard time with this because we're adding people to the health department, and we're not even sure we're going to have a health department in a year. Plus this $180,000 is a part of the CARES or something. So this is I don't think this is a good idea right now, just the way things are. And with the contact tracing becoming a moot point anymore because it's not really there. I don't really see any need for this, so just wanted to voice my opinion there.
Anyone else? Mayor?
Madam President, members of council, this is an extremely important piece for our health department. Our health department has just gone through the accreditation. Once you're accredited, you are a health department. And so this is very important to Terry and her staff. They're working very hard. And we have $180,000. And I can say that you were allowed to take it back to September, but now we're at the end of December. So I would urge you to please vote for this tonight. Terry and her staff need this money, and they need to have the staff. We're still in a very high peak of the coronavirus, and they need assistance. Thank you.
Anyone else? Marcos?
Madam President, I'll keep it brief, but just a reminder that the health board is the actual appointing authority and has the power to create the positions. The request for you is simply to add the positions to the occupation list of class titles, which is required for the auditor's purposes to be able to pay and to conduct their employee and auditing functions. And so that's the only request before you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilman Freeman?
I just need clarification. When this was first presented to us, there were 3 different positions, and I believe initially it was stated that these positions, those original positions, were posted. What happened to those positions that were posted, and where is the new position? Is it posted? I just need perhaps a little bit more information regarding this.
So, yes, they did post that position, Mrs. Kramer, and then they had to tell the person that they couldn't accept it because council hadn't voted on it yet. So they did post the position, and so they're waiting to interview. And they have people that are interested, but they can't spend the money until council approves. Now, I also want to share with you that the city of Canton and the city of Alliance did not have to go to their council to get either one of these approved. So that is really important. We really need to hire these people for our staff, for Terry and the staff. Do you have any other questions? Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Gray?
I think we're at the point where we can vote on this, so I'd like to move that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings of ordinance number 1 and bring ordinance number 168, 2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Sterrett. Roll call for suspension.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Ernking,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Sloots,
Yes.
and Sterrett.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Kramer,
No.
Gregg,
Yes.
Ernking,
No.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
No.
Slutes,
Yes.
Sterrett? Yes. And Barrett?
No.
5 yes and 4 no. For passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 168, 2021 has passed.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Lewis.
just let the record show this did not meet emergency language standard, so it will not be able to go on effect until 30 days from today.
Thank you. Ordinance number 150, 2021.
An ordinance authorizing the Madison City Health Department to accept a federal workforce development grant from the Stark County Health Department and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is to accept the grant given to the city for our health department. I make a motion that we bring number 150-2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Gregg. Roll call for suspension. I'm sorry, roll call for passage.
Gregg?
Yes.
Hurricane?
No.
Lewis?
Yes?
Littman?
Yes.
Lombardi?
No.
Slutes?
Yes.
Sterrett?
Yes.
Barrett?
No.
And Creamer?
No.
5 yes and 4 no for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As with the one previous, this will go into effect in 30 days. Second reading ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 175, 2021.
An ordinance amending the occupation of the tax titles, Department 415, Building Department, in the city of Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Gregg.
Thank you, Madam President. In this second reading, I believe, is there any further discussion on this? Create a position in the building department? Seeing none, I make a motion that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 175, 2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Hurricane. Roll call for suspension.
Hurricane?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes?
Littman?
Yes.
Lombardi?
Yes.
Slutes?
Yes.
Sterrett?
Yes.
Barrett?
Yes.
Creamer?
Yes.
And Gregg.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lewis?
Yes?
Littman?
Yes.
Lombardi?
Yes.
Slutes?
Yes.
Sterrett?
Yes.
Barrett?
Yes.
Creamer?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
And Hurricane.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 175, 2021 has passed. Ordinance number 177, 2021.
An ordinance amending the salary and wage schedules for supervisory, classified or unclassified employees, classified employees, and unclassified employees in the city of Madison, Ohio. Also amending the miscellaneous schedule for part-time employees in the city of Madison, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Is there any further discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, make the motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 177-2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Sterrett.
Councilman Barcos has a statement.
Yes, sir.
Is there an amendment to this one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, there's an amendment. I withdraw my motion.
Sorry, folks. To be consistent with the action you just took with 168, 2021, which was to add the administrative assistant to the miscellaneous schedule, there's an amendment to 177, 2021, just to represent that that action's been taken. So that's all that the amendment does. It recognizes that the admin assistant has been added to the health department miscellaneous schedule. Everything else is the same. I think we discussed this in the work session last week. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to ask it. I think Diane also distributed it via email.
And I apologize for my moving forward. It's a minor. So I guess I will open this up to any discussion before any further motions are made. All right, I make a motion that we amend ordinance number 177-2021 as referenced by to the council to include the wording regarding the administrative assistant in miscellaneous.
Second by Councilman Sarah. Roll call for the amendment.
Lippman,
Yes.
Lombardi,
No.
Slutes,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
No.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harncamp,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
7 yes, 2 no for suspension.
For amendment.
Amendment, I'm sorry.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, I make a motion to suspend the rules required to read and bring ordinance number 177-2021 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Gray. Roll call for suspension.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Slutes,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harncamp,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Lippman.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no. Did Kramer, did you vote no? Oh, no. Okay, so that should be 9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Slutes,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
No.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harncamp,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lippman,
Yes.
and Lombardi.
No.
Let's see that. 6 yes and 3 no.
I had
4
seven.
passage.
I had 7 too.
7-2. Same as the amendment.
I believe so. Lombardi, Kramer.
Okay.
I correct.
7 yes and 2 no for passage.
Madam Clerk, ordinance number 177-2021 has passed. We are at number 17 on the agenda. Where anyone from the audience may come forward and speak on any topic that did not appear on tonight's agenda? If you wish to do so, please come forward, state your name, address, and topic you wish to discuss. And please let your comments to the
Thank you, Madam President. Diane Rowland, we appreciate what you do. I want to talk a little bit about a good friend of mine, I think Massillon will know. Larry L.J. DeLuca, 2954 Veterans Boulevard, Southeast Massillon, Ohio, 4466, you know, whatever it is. That's the Legends of Massillon. Thanks, Jay. You're left. Number 11, go ahead. I want to talk about one of my friends. Real quick, I'm going to try. It's been a long night here at City Council, but I want to talk about Dr. Edward Hill, my friend, good friend, and my mother's friend. He died recently. Longest serving doctor, I believe, second in the country. He did these free clinics all over. I went to the St. Timothy church funeral service. It was great. People we seen. But the priest talked about, he accomplished a lot. I mean, Dr. Hill's bio amazed me. My dad's bio amazed me. A lot of you guys amazed me. But Dr. Hill was excellent. And my mother's best friend is Sarah Hill Emmert. That's his daughter, who took care of him. I visit him every week at his condo building. God bless Dr. Hill's family. And a lot of times he did taking money from people. His nurses. Feliz Navidad to all of you here tonight. Remember that Jose Feliciano wrote the song, "Is Unite People," okay, with the holiday cheer. So we need a little of that here at City Council tonight, both English and Spanish. Wow, over 50-some years. He died in 2014, Ted. Now, some of his quotes real quick. Always good to make new friends. To me, my guitar has been in my orchestra. I just do my thing, which I do, and God did not want me to be a blind beggar. Jose Feliciano was blind. Okay, and to me and my family, it's not Christmas unless I hear that song. We have to hear that song, Jamie, and we got to hear that because then it's Christmas, okay? So from my bottom of my heart, thumbs up to Jose. Okay, it's all about the Massillon, Ohio city engineer. We need a Christmas gift here in Massillon, okay? Mayor, we can't go where the open rotation. It's almost Christmas, and Mayor, we need our own Massillon city engineer. This is not an attack on the mayor. This is not an attack on Jason Tuphill, because I've talked to Jason Tuphill before, and he's fine with me. We had to our talk, Mayor, so it's not an attack, and it's not an attack on you. But I just think we have to kick off the training wheels of going to third-party engineers. I'm sorry, the Massillon people want it. They call me, they tell me in my email, they tell me on my phone. ODMH advisors has stepped down, or will, okay? Councilman Gray, you mentioned it's a moot point because it was already, I put their resignation in. But it is a moot point with me because, Councilman Gray, I don't want the city of Massillon to go back to a third-party engineer. I want our own people running it. The sad part about it is a lot of our engineers, and I've talked to all three of the other ones, for your information, we have three. Thank you, Madam President. They can't sign off on anything. The mayor was put in the paper, they can't sign off on large-scale projects. Some of them here can't sign off on small, medium, forget about the large-scale projects. Listen, no offense to OHM advisors. Thanks for your service. You did a great job, I think it was 5 years. 10's pushing us. Number 11, Jamie, you're pushing us to get, we need our own Massillon city engineer. My folks are listening to me, you email me at ljdelucas752@gmail. You can call me at 330-495-1566. I want a Massillon-owned city engineer that is certified in all areas. Again, Felice Navidad, thank you, Madam President, and I want to give just real quick a very good shout out to the woman that's sitting by you too, and both do a great job, but she gives me any information, and to everybody here. Thank you, Diana, and Felice Navidad to you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Before we adjourn, I would like to thank Councilman Derek Lemon for their service. It's been greatly appreciated. You will be missed on council. And I would like to wish both of you good luck in your future endeavors. Councilwoman Sterrett.
Make a motion that we adjourn, and thank you, Madam President.
Meeting is adjourned.